Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Dockside at the Bay. I'm Vinny, along with my awesome co-host, Kim. As always, Kim, how are you today?
Doing all right for, just to kind of starting to get a little chillier here in Chicago now. We had a brief little period where it was, it was warm, then cold. The weather's just confused right now. So,
Oh, absolutely.
It was, but it's feeling like fall. It's feeling like a lead up to Thanksgiving, all good things. So,
well, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, as this is live on Thanksgiving. Breaking the fourth wall. We're recording it a little bit beforehand. Last week, 2 weeks ago, you actually saw an interview with Courtney Warner and Charlie Shrem. It was a great interview, talking all about the Bay and her new role on the Bay. And his role.
It was it was a cool experience just hearing from someone who's been on the set and was able to just experience that and have a terrific time and do what she loves with really cool actors around side. It was really neat, getting her take on life on the Bay set and everything like that. So.
Oh, absolutely. And overall, all in all, we did raise $245 for Samantha's Friends.
Yes.
And I did mention that going forward, anytime somebody orders a doggy bandana or a doggy cuddle buddy from our merch shop, going forward with any logo on it, the proceeds go directly to Samantha's Friends. So that way, all year round, if you order any doggy bandana or doggy cuddle buddy, the proceeds will go towards Samantha's Friends. So we can continue to help support the service animals and the first responders and the veterans and all that. So that's what we're doing going forward for our merch shop, which our merch shop is merch.suds-media.com, or you can now look at some of our merch on our actual YouTube channel. So check that out.
Also, go on in and take a look. I managed to get some doggy bandanas on order for, early, doing a little Christmas shopping because, I don't have dogs, but I know people who have dogs and, it's going towards a good cause. They're cute little bandanas and the Cuddle Plush jobs they're adorable too. So check that stuff out. It's always fun.
Absolutely. And like I said, you can now look at part of some items of our shop on our YouTube channel. And also, you can now help us and support our show by clicking that little box with the $sign in it for a super chat or super thanks or super sticker or whatever they are. Either way, whatever you decide that you want to send to us to support us, it goes directly into the show. So, and into the network to help keep this awesome production that we're doing. A couple things of note on Suds Media, as always, on Suds News, we're continuing with General Hospital every single week. We are looking at a couple of interviews coming up. We did mention that Jordi Villasusa we will reschedule from the podcast-a-thon. But we are also thinking about doing a do-over of the podcast-a-thon at some point in March. Because of the abrupt ending of this last week's earlier this month, the abrupt ending of the actual podcast-a-thon, we're looking to do it in March again. And again, that would be to raise money for Samantha's Friends. So keep that in mind as we get closer. Mm-hmm. We will keep you abreast of the situation. But as always, we are here to talk all about the Emmy Award-winning series, The Bay. We're at season 7, episode number 3. It's called In Between. And I'll tell you, this episode did feel like an in-between episode.
It really did. It went by very fast, as you and I both, noted when we were chatting earlier. I think you said the runtime was about 19 minutes, give or take. I mean, but they crammed a lot in. It definitely was just kind of setting up, getting us from point A to point B in terms of a few, the storylines that we got upcoming with Pete going on his rescue mission. We also got to see kind of where Sara is currently navigating, and we got to see Lex. But we had, and also Evan, we got to just kind of touch base with everyone that was, still kind of dealing with stuff at the hospital, still kind of in the aftermath of everything that's happened, and also just kind of see where they're going from here. So definitely a lot packed into that 19-minute time span.
Oh, absolutely. And I liked the phone conversation between Lex and Pete, because it was almost like Pete was telling Lex, I'm heading down to the station now, that he's getting the Garrett jet fueled and ready to go.
Yep. Gotta love that they can just hop on the private jets, I wish.
And you know what? I got to say this. The car that Pete was driving,
Right.
First of all, it was parked in a handicap spot. I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that. Oh my goodness.
I had to ding him for that, but it had the doors like the DeLorean that open up, open up. It was just typical rich person car. I'm sorry.
And then you got RJ all just like salivating over it, being like, "Oh, can I drive?"
Yeah, exactly.
Which, it made me wonder, okay, how old is RJ?
I want to say he's got to be in his 20s at this point.
But like the enthusiasm, like, can I drive? I don't know. The way he said that, he just sounded so like, like he's like a 15-year-old, and I know that he's not. But
maybe he's 19. And that's the fact that he's already a nurse.
Yes. Yes, that makes me feel like he's not like, high school, unless it's like a very, interesting internship program that he's doing out of high school, which could be. But right. I don't know. It was just so funny that maybe it was just the way the actor delivered the line or something, but he reminded me of a teenager just wanting to jump behind the wheel of that car. And maybe because it was
just a gearhead.
That could be, I don't know. Cars are lost on me. I live in a city where I rely on public transit. So the whole, it doesn't faze me, but some people get into it.
I've never been a car person either. I mean, I've had enough beaters in my life that I know how to, diagnose some things. And my grandfather taught me well about a lot of things, especially not knowing how to change a tire. But I've never been a car person. So, it's like, as long as I could drive it, it go down gas and it gets me from A to B. Now, if I was able to afford a Hummer, that's a different story. I would love to have a Hummer, although they're not 9 miles to the gallon. Not something that you can necessarily afford to drive, but
no, that'd be a little steep. Even trying to find parking around here for that would be insane. No, it's just funny watching his his excitement though to join Pete on that adventure. I thought was really sweet, and it just kind of got captured in that moment too with the car. But in general, his just wanting to be there, support the family, and help Pete out in the midst of all this craziness.
And you know what? It does work because Lex pointed out that first of all, Pete found out from Sophia, in the last episode that she saw that they were all, Vivian, Daniel, and Tamara were all with Adam.
Yes.
So when Lex and Pete are talking, and Lex tells him, this guy has 3 Garretts, he's targeting your family.
Right.
That's kind of like telling Pete, it's not my fight. I'll help whatever I can, but your mother is my priority, and she's in a coma.
Yeah.
At this point. So Lex kind of gave him his blessing.
Yeah. I mean, it was very, you can tell that Pete is just in such like a, torn, difficult place, obviously, Sara and everything like that. But he knows that Sarah's in good hands, and he knows that he has no choice but to embark on this, if only for the reason that his wife, hasn't even seen their newborn baby yet. And he knows that there's always something brewing, and it's, it's dragging Pete out of Bay City, some exotic location. I feel like we've begun to count on that. It's becoming a recurring. So,
but Pete is kind of building his dream team at this point. Like he's building up the team that's going to go to wherever it is to rescue the
Avengers assemble in a way.
Yeah, that's what it is, and being in November that we're watching it, it's Survivor Series time, so the War Games teams are being assembled as well for this upcoming Saturday's Survivor Series. Now remember, folks, just a programming note, this Saturday, the 29th, is not only WWE Survivor Series live from San Diego, it's also Real American Freestyle 03 live from, I want to say, Cleveland. No, not Cleveland. Maybe I think it's Chicago, if I'm not
Really?
mistaken. RAF 03. I got to check to see where it's taking place.
Do you need to do some satellite reporting?
RAF 03. It's it's a Wintrust Arena in Chicago. So in your hometown. So that goes on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I will be streaming it. Hopefully, if I'm not, because I do have to work the next morning, so we're not going to do a freestyling on RAF right afterwards. I'm going to try to get it up on a Discord as a watch along for people that don't have Fox Nation. So keep tuned to that. Keep tuned to our social media regarding that. RAF 03 this coming Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox Nation, but also I will stream it on our Discord as well. And then Sunday night, we'll be freestyling on RAF, freestyling on Real American Freestyle. We'll do that on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern and talk all about RAF 03. So that's just a quick programming note for everybody out there. But as I was saying, as the WWE, they assemble their War Games teams. Pete is assembling his team to go to.
He has to. He's literally fighting for like his family and also like his identity to a degree.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's gotta freak the man out to know that like he has an actual twin, his identical, doppelganger walking around out there, just fully determined to just take over his life in every possible way.
Absolutely. And this story has been a soap trope for years regarding the identical twin, whether it's Kevin and Ryan on GH or Alex and Anna or
Adam and Stuart, and Janet and Natalie too. All my children they liked the twin thing.
Yes,
the formula that worked for them. But it's definitely a trope. But Bay leaning into it as hard as they did, and we mentioned this before, but just the fact that they elected to make Christos play dual roles in this, and despite the kind of convoluted path it took to get there, it's totally worth it being able to see it play out.
But it's also a different style of story for the identical twin, where the identical twin comes in and kidnaps 3 family members, as opposed to kidnapping his twin and taking over.
Archer, he isn't throwing Pete down a well, but he is managing to just. It's almost as if this is punishing Pete more.
Yes.
If you think on it, this is definitely the way to make him hurt more, because Pete's, he's a tough dude. He would, find and he's clever, and he would find a way to escape these clutches. But that's not necessarily guaranteed with the folks that are in Adam's clutches right now. So he's, it definitely. It is interesting though. They opted not to get like I said, throw him down a well or do something to deter him in that way. They're just kind of letting it's like, okay, I've got these guys. Now you can hop on your private jet and come and, try and rescue them. He didn't, it's not like Adam tried to hold Pete off or anything like that. He knows he's gunning for him, but he's just content to let it happen. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what it boils down to, is that he wants, it's like he wants the fight on his own turf.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to draw Pete out of his comfort zone, and we know. But the other thing is, we know that Pete is not somebody to shy away from going on an adventure.
No,
we saw him go to go down to the islands to return the locket. And then
in Belgium, same kind of deal. Even though it's unfortunate now, he doesn't have Daniel as his wingman. He has to go and rescue Daniel. He does. But it was just kind of I liked that tag team of the two of them, and I would have watched more of their adventures and them running around through Belgium, like that whole sequence. I'm coming back to when they were in the hotel trying to it's just they're good partners in crime. They'd make for a good buddy. Yep. So, but it is interesting to have Caleb in the mix now too, just fully determined to get in action hero mode as well. Because he just married this man and now he's gone and he needs to find his husband and so they can get on with their lives and have a honeymoon and enjoy being married and all of that lovely stuff.
The funny part about it is that you're looking at, if you look at, Pete, RJ, and Caleb, at face value, you have Pete, who has been a world traveler, adventurer. But then you have a nurse and a school teacher. It sounds like this is a bad joke.
It is a little, it's a different kind of vibe than him traveling around and kind of working with, like, say, John Blackwell or something like that, where you've got people that are, or Evan, or folks that are more equipped to kind of handle or have dealt with just, even dealing with in all their dealings with Steve. It's like they were prepared to go up against, like, villains, bad guys, but like you said, you got a nurse and a school teacher, he just wants to drive the cool car.
Right.
A man who just wants to find his husband. But, they're all determined. They're all family, and they're all connected, and they just want to help Pete out. And it's cool seeing, the three of them just because if you think on it too, Adam and Caleb really haven't interacted a hell of a lot.
Right.
So cool seeing Pete and Caleb. You haven't really seen them interact too much. So it's cool to see them sharing scenes.
But they kind of known each other because Daniel went to school with him, and they were
known each other, but not necessarily interacted as much.
Exactly.
So it's cool to see them just kind of in the same space working together. It's a different kind of combo, but it works.
Yes, exactly, and it will work. But as Pete assembles his team, we also kind of see the fallout even more. We see Evan in bed, and he gets woken up by what's her name? I can't remember.
I know.
Cohen's sister, I think it is. Kiara, not well. Kiara is the actor's name, but
Jay.
Yeah, Shay. Was Shay?
Shay. Jay. There's an A in there somewhere.
Boy, we gotta look this up.
Yeah, that's shameful on my part. I should know this.
Well, no, trust me, I'm the same way. I should know it as well.
My memory is short today, apparently.
Let's see. I'm scrolling now, so I'll get there eventually.
But you did have it even too with
Right.
I was all set to call him Sean. He's not Sean, he's Evan. I'm sorry, Days of Our Lives is interfering.
Dre. Yeah,
Dre. I knew A sounded there.
Non-Dr. Dre.
Partial credit. Credit.
So Dre kind of wakes him up. He, as he's kind of sleeping, she's kind of sitting there making sure he's okay.
And his response of just, my brother is dead, and I don't know where Tamara is, and I'm lying in a hospital bed, and I just got shot. It's like, my God, you have a really sad story going on right now.
Yeah, and
you poor man.
Get out of bed and get back to whatever he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, but getting shot in the shoulder, he tried that in the last episode, and clearly he can't just jump out of bed after something like that. You need a little time to recuperate, and he's just not. Oh, you just feel for the man so much. Just like he's and just the fact that he even just said, "My brother is dead," and he just said it so just like defeated sounding, knowing he can't at the moment. He can't even get justice for him, and he's still worried. He's worried about Tamara. Yeah. It's such a sad situation for the man. And then you kind of, it's interesting with his connection with Dre too, because obviously they touched on it in the previous season, but it's like we didn't see her pop up until now this season.
Right.
So it's kind of, it's reintroducing her, but I admit when she kind of walks into his room, I was like, wait a minute. It took me a second.
Yes.
That connection, because we hadn't seen her since the previous season when she was running around town with her daughter.
Right.
And it wasn't like during the kind of COVID pre-period when she wasn't in that span of episodes either. So she was kind of reintroduced a little bit, not out of the blue, but I was just like, oh yeah, okay. And then when she mentions also the daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of touch on it briefly because they did have Evan kind of, going through scrolling, like looking up like the daughter's social media profile or Dre's social media or something. But so it is touched on, but it was kind of a forgotten detail until she comes in the room. And then I'm just like, oh yeah, now it's coming back.
Exactly. So, it's just, Evan is trying to piece everything, just like everybody in Bay City is. Pete, unfortunately or fortunately, Pete is the only one that's really mobile and can, Caleb too, for that matter, and RJ's just tagging along.
Yeah, but it was nice having her be the one to kind of, because obviously we don't have John Blackwell right now on canvas.
Right.
He needed, someone to kind of be. Avery is obviously distraught too because of the whole Damien situation. So having Dre there to kind of, be, keep an eye out on him and just kind of reintroduce that storyline. It was an interesting and good place to kind of work her back into the narrative. Because clearly Evan needs somebody right now who can, and something to focus on that's at least positive. He's got a daughter out there who was very cute in the short span of episodes that we saw her in. So
exactly. So he gets to the station and, he's meeting with Nardo, Liana's grandfather, as well as, the other officer, the lady detective. I don't know what her name is.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either, but she's making her presence known at the station, though. Yes. As is Nardo, too, because Nardo is still, he's filling in. He knows that, Lex is obviously, detained, cannot, so he's definitely, stepping in and just charge, which you love to see it.
Oh, absolutely. And I like that he has that mentality. At this point, Liana's gone. Because Will, they got on a plane to who knows where to get out of the country, and they do mention that Will found out, he was tipped off to get Liana out of there early.
Yes.
So what's the connection? We still don't know the connection between Will Campbell and Adam and why this happened. And you know what? To be fair, they may never answer that question. That was just a way to write Liana off.
Yeah, it was a vehicle to, an interesting way nonetheless. And, with Will, he was kind of shuffled off canvas. We didn't hear from him for a while, but the way that they decided to bring him back, even if it was just to usher Liana out, at least they kind of referenced that history. They didn't just send him up to the attic to get a pair of skis and never see him again.
But they left the door open now. So let's, if down the road Will or Liana or both decide to come back, at least now they could kind of answer that question. Whether or not the Adam story is done with or not, at least it keeps that door open for more story going forward.
Definitely. And having Nardo on canvas means that, we still have that family still present, because we may not be seeing the Romantico right now. We may not be seeing Liana right now. But that's a whole, factor in the show's history. So having at least someone from the family representing, just to kind of keep that presence, in Bay City, it's important, and it's good to see. I don't know. I like seeing Nardo just in kind of, action cop mode. It's cool.
Oh, absolutely. And I like how they're talking about how I guess it would be either Interpol or the FBI or some agency is tracking the plane.
Right.
But they don't know what the final destination is, because they said they were in the air for about 3.5 hours, and it could be another 12 hours to where they're going to. So at this point, Pete's like, oh, well, we'll find out in the air. We have to be there when they land. That's a little impossible, in my opinion, if you don't know where they're going.
Just a little, Yeah. I don't know. Especially with, the current state of air travel. You see something like playing out on screen and it just kind of makes you laugh.
Absolutely.
But, and also it's kind of interesting talking about destinations and unknown places, though, because we do have that whole element with Sara in that in between, and we see Marley kind of carry over from the previous episode too. And I liked the sequence where Pete sees her just briefly, and it's kind of then all of a sudden RJ kind of comes into the picture right behind it. It's like he almost has her permission, and it's not permission, but my son is here to help you, so this is what I'm able to provide you with, so you can go and save our family, which I thought was a really cool element.
I did like that, and I think they used the ghostly vehicle. Again, another soap trope, but they used the ghostly vehicle very effectively in this episode.
Yep.
You know, in these past two episodes, because we know that Sarah's trapped in her mind. Like, she's trapped between.
Yeah. They said that she's peaceful, but I don't know. The way that when they first show her in the hallway and she's crying for Lex, I'm like, oh, she's not peaceful. No,
Yeah.
she's scared. And, you know, but then you got the doctor saying, I think she's peaceful right now while she's lying in coma. It's like, okay, yeah, she's like in Sleeping Beauty mode, but clearly she's distraught, trying to figure out where she is, what's going on. You know, seeing Marley and everything. She's not in a good place.
And I like that because that's something that I've never seen before in soaps. You know, I mean, I've seen the in-between area. I've seen the, you know, someone talking to a dead person or someone, you know, having a vision.
And As the World Turns, I remember they did kind of this hallway sort of motif, I remember, with like looking in through like a closed door at like their comatose selves, trying to, two of the characters, and like trying to get through like a closed door or a locked door. I do remember seeing that in As the World Turns like once. And I know my children, I remember they had like this like kind of, when Tad was navigating, you know, the realm after he was struck by a tornado, and there was this whole, it was a whole thing. But it happened in like 1994 when the show had serious budget and could pull off a very convincing tornado arc. They did a great job.
Nice.
But I just remember he's standing there in his suit in this in-between place, talking to his dead father, talking to his best friend who happened to be in heaven, his sister, all these people, and like all the while looking through like this portal window sort of deal at his life back on Pine Valley with his, and it just, so it's an interesting kind of bringing in that sort of in-between space. It's a little vintagey soap, which I appreciate. Because you definitely have seen like the ghostly characters kind of walking around, you know, but having the characters just kind of straddling that line. And I appreciate the fact too that it lets us just kind of see, you know, it touches on the show's history again, which is really, because with Marley, yes, we have RJ on canvas, but you kind of forget about Marley, especially because her arc is so focused in Bay the beginning that by the time we get to regular season Bay, I mean, she's almost practically written out of the show within like the first, what is it? Yeah, like she's so, you know, even obviously recasted. It's not Martha Madison playing her, which is kind of unfortunate because I love Martha Madison, but recast does a terrific job. Looks a lot like, you know, Mary Beth Evans as well, casting wise. They look like mother and daughter. But it was just an effective way to just kind of tie back in that history and showing her with RJ and showing that connection between her and Pete. It's like, oh, you're dwelling on that history, which is nice. It's nice to see that, even out like 7 seasons later.
Oh yeah, no, and it's great how they use that because Sarah doesn't only see Marley, but she also sees Lee.
Yes, another who we, you know, I don't know. They established so well that Lex and her are just so, you know, soulmate and everything. So seeing Lee when she was crying out for Lex, and then she turns around though and she's so happy to see, it was bittersweet to see it because.
And Lee was played by the same character, Joe Lando, the same actor who played him in Bay the Beginning.
Right.
You know, and I know we saw some flashbacks with Eric Martzoff at one point as playing.
Right. Well, that was young Lee and young Sara, which worked, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it was cool seeing that actor kind of, you know, able to reprise it. And then Sara getting some comfort seeing the man that, you know, she obviously still loves, you know, Lee, obviously father of her children, still connected, taken from her rather abruptly. They did have a really lovely wedding sequence, though. I do remember, like, you know, when we watched the Valentine's montage that they did, and they showed just in like the wedding between Lee and, I mean, they do establish that connection, even though we don't really see them as a couple until really after, you know, we see the aftermath of him being gone and her reaction, but we really don't see the two of them interacting too much aside from when, you know, he's already, he's gone. So it was nice seeing him there to comfort her, but at the same time it was heartbreaking having it juxtaposed with Lex crying at her bedside.
Exactly. And it was so good how, you know, just as Lex is saying, Sara, come back to me, or whatever, and she's like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Almost, and kudos again, kudos to Gregory Martin, because I mean, I don't ever wish anybody know what it's like to be in a coma, but it's, I'm wondering if he had a relative or friend or somebody that was in a coma at some point that was able to um, verbalize and kind of narrate how they felt and what they felt like during that time. Like, because as we look at it from the outside, somebody is just asleep, and and you look at it, and if you've ever gone through surgery, or even at night, it's like you close your eyes, you wake up, it's hours later,
Yeah.
as opposed to in a coma, it's days, months, sometimes years.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody ever, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I never had anybody in my life go through something like that where they could have said, hey, I was trapped. Like, I felt like I was talking to people, or just something where they could do it. But the way that Gregory Martin captured Sara, had captured the state that Sara was in, where she's
that angle. And even just showing it's like it's a hospital hallway, it's like she's aware that she's in a hospital. She becomes aware because of Marley that she is not dead, but she's not in a great place either, that she's straddling that line. And it's just, you see, I mean, kudos again to Mary Beth Evans, because my God, I wish that Days would give her just a 10th of this material right now, because just, she gives it 1,000% every single time. And her scenes, you just feel her frustration, you feel her anger, you feel her relief when she sees Lee. It's just, it's all, she's so freaking talented. And it's just, I love the fact that the Bay just embraces that and lets her just go off and just do her acting thing, and not just, I don't know, I'm a little salty right now with Days and the way that they're highlighting Kayla. So I'm leaning hard into rewatching these, especially the set of scenes, from the Bay and stuff. It's nice getting to see her do her stuff.
Yeah. But, Mary Beth Evans is fantastic. The best part, and we've kind of gone over everything in the episode already, but the best part, and the reason why the Bay won so many Emmys, is because of how it's structured. It's not structured like a typical soap opera. Yes, there's a lot of soap tropes in the show, but it's almost kind of shot and filmed and directed like a primetime drama series.
Yeah, that's kind of how, when we were chatting with Courtney, she kind of expressed the same thing. Just how it's almost geared more for youthful sort of, obviously the streaming, automatically kind of puts it in a category where it's separate from other soaps in terms of, the way that it's shot, the way that it's streamed, the way that it's, consumed. But it definitely, it's catering, it leans younger because of, the decisions that it makes. And it's just more modern, a new take, and, and it's just the way that they're able to just, bring in the soapy elements, but keep it young, keep it fresh, keep it exciting, keep it dramatic, keep it everything that we've been praising it for as long as we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah, and their budget as well. I don't know the finances of the show, but for them to be able to film on location,
they have freedom. I feel like network soaps right now wish that they could reclaim, because back in the day, network soaps could do the whole, when soaps were king in the 80s, when they had their heyday, they were able to go and shoot on locations and have these just giant stuff, like the tornado that I mentioned. Like, the Bay would do a very interesting tornado arc if they ever decided to go like, full on natural disaster kind of deal, or something.
It would need to be like a tsunami or something.
Yeah, or just big, I don't know. I'm kind of clamoring for I wish that Days had the budget to kind of do like another Daysaster or something like that, where so it's one of those storylines, a big umbrella thing, like what the Bay just did with, obviously, with this storyline, and then being able, because there's so much material to be gleaned from something like that. You have this big dramatic situation. It involves all these characters. Then you see the aftermath. It's like, it's so soapy and addictive. And I just wish that we could, I don't know, capture that spirit with ones that are currently airing. But at least we can watch it on the Bay. At least we have that ability.
Yes. And that's the best part about it, is that we have the ability. We're watching the Bay. And folks, like I said, we covered just about everything in the episode. It was a very, very quick episode tonight, or this episode.
Just kind of setting the tone for the next adventures, and
Yes.
we got to see how Sara gets out of that hallway. We got to see where Pete is, going on that plane. There's so many different things that they're leaping off from in this episode. And we're excited to see it.
All right. And folks, as always, I do want to say thank you to everybody who is a subscriber and is tuning in. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And
subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And if you see the little box down at the bottom with the $ sign in it, clicking that and choosing a denomination of money or an amount that you determine that you want to send us to support us, that, go ahead and utilize that for the super chat or the super thanks or the super gifts or straight stickers or whatever else there is. But everything that you donate to us goes directly to the network, whether it's paying
Unless
for
the doggy bandana, and that'll go to Samantha's friends.
Well, right. If you're going to go to our merch shop, which is merch.suds-media.com, you can go ahead and buy any of the dog merchandise, whether it's a doggy bandana or the dog cuddle buddy, and you go ahead and purchase any of those, and those proceeds will go towards Samantha's friends. So that's just one way we're going to continue to help Samantha's friends going forward at all times. But outside of that, I think we're just about done. I do want to, once again, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And
season of giving. Everyone should, I know times are crazy right now, but giving even just good energy right now to people.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of good energy, Carolyn Hennessy, who we thought, was at one point said that she would come on the podcast-a-thon, but she unfortunately had an accident at her home where she, according to, from what I've heard, she fell over her dog and ended up breaking her leg. Ended up going for 2 surgeries. She is on the mend. Obviously, we know that she was previously on the Bay for a couple of episodes. She's more well known as Diane from General Hospital, but we wish Carolyn Hennessy a huge and very speedy recovery because, she's a fantastic person. Yeah. So, all right. So, Kim, where can everybody find you?
So I am Misfit8690 on Twitter. I am a Little Misfit52 on YouTube as well as Instagram. Even though my Instagram profile is a little lacking, I'm still there. And if you want to interact and chat about soaps or anything that strikes your fancy, feel free to hit me up on either of those channels.
All right. And as always, you can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Vinny Suds. At Suds Media is our network Twitter account, which you can see this show broadcast on. But for everything, go to suds-media.com, which brings you to our YouTube channel, and hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, help donate to the channel and support us. Hit that super chat button or super thanks, and that money will go, like I said, go directly back into the network, whether it's paying for StreamYard, paying for, any of the streaming services that we do to watch.
Let's just keep doing what we're doing. And doing it lets us do it better. So
exactly, I couldn't have said it better myself. But folks, again, you can find me on Instagram and Threads. It's at Suds and Square Circle, and on TikTok on at Suds_media. So check all that out. If anything, go to our Linktree, linktree.suds-media.com, and all of our links are there, including our sponsors, our advertisers, as well as our social media. But folks, we are out of time. As always, for Kim, I'm Vinny. We will see you next week as we go dockside at the Bay. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.